There comes a day when you realize you've been breathing, but not really living. Today, let this be that day. You open your eyes every morning, but are they really open? You walk, you talk, you scroll through your phone, you laugh at things you don't even find funny, just to fill the silence. But inside, you're quietly breaking. And the truth is, you are wasting your life. Not because you aren't working hard, not because you don't have dreams, but because you've placed those dreams on a shelf labeled someday. You keep telling yourself, I'll start when I'm ready, when things calm down, when I'm stronger. But here's the raw truth. Life doesn't pause while you wait. You think you need more time, more support, more answers. But what you really need is a wake-up call. And this is it. You were not put here to just exist, to fit in, to survive. You were born with fire in your soul. Yes, maybe life knocked you down. Maybe people walked away. Maybe your body or your spirit is tired. But hear this, you are not broken. You are becoming. When the world tells you you can't, whisper back or watch me. The people who changed the world weren't born lucky. They were born stubborn. They refused to let pain define them. They looked their trauma in the eye and said, you will not have the last word. So stop hiding, stop doubting, stop waiting, wake up. This is your life. Not next year. Not when you lose weight. Not when you lose weight. Not when you get the perfect job. Now, this moment, this breath, this chance. You are not too late. You are not too old. You are not too broken. You are still here. That's more than enough to begin. So wake up. Live like you matter, because you do. And if no one told you today, I will. The world needs your light. Please don't dim it any longer. You are alive, and that is your greatest gift. Stop waiting for life to begin. Every morning your eyes open. You inhale, your heart beats. Blood rushes through your veins without your permission. Your lungs do their job without needing a reminder. You are alive, and that's not a small thing. That's everything. But how often do we forget what a miracle that is? How often do we overlook the gift of existence because we're too busy waiting for something more, something bigger, something better? You keep postponing your happiness like it's a package arriving next week. You keep saying, I'll be happy when I get that job. I'll feel fulfilled when I meet the right person. I'll really live when I'm financially stable, when I move out, when I look a certain way, when I'm finally proud of myself. But here's the hard truth. If you keep waiting for life to be perfect before you start living, you will wait forever. Because perfection is an illusion. It's a trick your mind plays to keep you stuck in fear. Life doesn't begin once everything falls into place. Life begins now. In the uncertainty, in the chaos, in the ordinary moments you keep overlooking because they don't look like the highlight reel you've created in your mind. You don't need a sign from the universe, a glow up, or a green light from anyone else to start living like your life matters. The fact that you woke up today, that was your sign. You are breathing. You have a heartbeat. You have a mind that thinks, dreams, overthinks, and creates. And even if you feel like you're stuck, like you've wasted too much time, like you've missed too many chances, you have. You are still in the story. And the beautiful part is that as long as you're breathing, you can turn the page. You can shift the narrative. You can start becoming who you were always meant to be. But you have to stop waiting. Waiting for approval. Waiting for everything to be perfect. Waiting for the pain to pass completely before you give yourself permission to live. Healing is not a finish line. Confidence is not a destination. Joy is not a reward. It's a choice. And you can choose it even with the cracks in your heart and the fear in your chest. People think they need a big breakthrough to begin. They think their life starts when something dramatic happens. But life doesn't need to be loud to be meaningful. It doesn't need to be grand to be beautiful. Sometimes life starts in a whisper, in the quiet decision to show up one more day, in the silent moment when you decide to stop sleepwalking through your own existence. So many of us are living like we're in Rome, looking at the clock, scrolling endlessly, numbing ourselves, distracting ourselves, thinking, oh, one day it'll get better. But what if today is that day, our day? Not the day everything changes, but the day you change the way you see what you already have. The day you stop waiting and start paying attention. You've got dreams, you've got gifts, you've got something this world has never seen before. And maybe it doesn't look shiny right now. Maybe it's buried under years of fear, doubt, or regret. But it's there. You don't have to be ready. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to be willing to begin. willing to believe there is more to your story than just surviving. So many people don't realize how powerful they are because they never stop waiting long enough to take the first step. But the truth is, you are already enough. You don't need to become someone else to matter. You don't need to reach some magical milestone to earn the right to live fully. You've already earned it. The day you took your first breath, you were worthy of a full life. Don't waste another moment pretending you're powerless. Don't sit in your fear and call it safety. Don't wait for someone to rescue you from the very life you have the power to change. You are alive. That means you're already equipped with everything you need to begin. Not tomorrow, not someday. This moment, this breath, this version of you, it's real and it's enough. Comfort zones are beautiful prisons. Freedom only comes when you break the walls. It doesn't feel like a prison at first. It feels safe. It feels familiar. It feels warm, like a soft blanket you've wrapped around yourself to protect you from everything unpredictable, painful, or unfamiliar. And that's why so many people never leave. Because comfort isn't painful, it's soothing. It lulls you to sleep while time quietly passes you by. And before you realize it, you've been stuck for years in a life that looks okay on the outside, but feels empty on the inside. The truth is, your comfort zone is seductive. It's where no one judges you. It's where you never have to fail. It's where you don't have to take risks or hear the word a no. It's where you don't have to be seen trying and possibly falling short. But that comfort is an illusion. It's not safety. It's a cage. And even though it's lined with everything you think you need, approval, stability, familiarity, it's still a prison if you're too scared to leave it. Most people don't even know they're in one. They think they just are being practical or are playing it safe. They convince themselves they're just waiting for the right time, the right mood, the right opportunity. But deep down, it's fear that holds them back. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what other people will say. Fear of discovering that they're not as good as they hoped or as strong as they wished. So they stay, they settle, they make excuses, and they start calling it reality. But here's the reality they ignore. Everything you've ever wanted is outside those walls. The growth, the passion, the strength, the courage, the breakthroughs, they don't live where it's safe. They live in the unknown. They live in the fire. And until you're willing to feel uncomfortable, until you're ready to be stretched, challenged, and humbled, you will never know the depth of your potential. Comfort zones don't just keep you from failing, they keep you from evolving. You stay small because it's easier than admitting you were made for more. You keep quiet because speaking up might shake the room. You walk the same path every day because blazing your own trail feels terrifying. But the cost of that comfort is your freedom. You can't have both. Will? You can't live the life you were meant to live and keep clinging to the life that's just a good enough. And here's something no one tells you. Comfort doesn't last. What once felt safe will eventually start to feel suffocating. The things that used to soothe you will start to feel like shackles. You'll feel stuck. You'll feel restless. You'll feel like you're meant for something more, but you won't know how to get there because you've built your life within invisible walls. But those walls, they were never real. They were built by fear, by past hurt, by other people's expectations. And the moment you decide to step beyond them, they lose their power. Yes, it's scary. Yes, you might fall. But you'll also rise. You'll discover strength you didn't know you had. You'll taste freedom for the first time. And once you've felt it, you'll wonder why you stayed stuck for so long. Leaving your comfort zone doesn't mean recklessly abandoning everything. It means choosing growth over ease. It means doing the things that scare you, not because they're dangerous, but because they matter. It means risking failure for the chance to feel alive. It means walking away from a good enough to chase what sets your soul on fire. And don't wait until you feel brave. You might never feel ready, but you don't need to be fearless to begin. You just need to decide that your life is worth more than staying small, that your voice matters, that your dreams matter, that your one wild and precious life is not meant to be spent inside a beautiful prison. So break the walls, bit by bit, step by step. Push against the fear. Push against the fear. Move through the discomfort. Say yes when you want to say no. Speak up when your voice shakes. Go after what scares you, not because you're certain, but because you're committed. That's where freedom lives. Not in perfection, not in safety, not in control, but in courage. Courage. In choosing discomfort over regret. In choosing growth over stagnation. In choosing yourself, even when it's hard. Your comfort zone may feel like home, but your destiny is far beyond it. Your scars are proof that you survived. Stop hiding them. Share your light. Scars tell stories that silence cannot. They are the quiet witnesses of battles fought and endured. But too often we are told to cover them up, to pretend they never happened, to keep smiling like everything has always been fine. We're taught that strength means never breaking, never crying, never showing weakness. So we hide our scars, physical, emotional, mental, as if they are signs of failure instead of badges of survival. But here's the truth. Your scars are not shameful. They are sacred. Sacred. They are not ugly reminders of what hurt you. They are powerful symbols of what didn't defeat you. Every scar on your heart, your soul, your body is proof that you were tested. And you made it through. You bled, but you didn't stop. You broke, but you healed. You lost, but you didn't stay down. And that's not weakness. That's a different kind of strength. A deeper kind. The kind that doesn't need to shout, but still speaks volumes. The world doesn't need more perfection. It doesn't need more filtered smiles and polished stories. It needs honesty. It needs people who have fallen and stood back up. People who have been through the fire and now carry light for others to see. But that only happens when you stop hiding. When you stop apologizing for being human. When you stop pretending your path has been smooth, just to make other people comfortable. So many people are carrying silent pain, thinking they are alone in it. They wear a mask every day, walking through life convinced that they are the only ones who have felt lost, scared, abandoned, hurt, or broken. But when you show your scars, when you speak your truth, you tell someone else, you are not alone. That moment of connection can be life-changing for them and for you. Because healing becomes deeper when it's shared. Growth becomes real when it's not hidden. When you show the parts of yourself that you thought were too damaged to be seen, you don't just reclaim your power, you give others permission to do the same. That's what sharing your light means, not not having it all being perfect, 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 not having it all but standing in your truth and letting your experiences, your lessons, your wounds turn wisdom, be a light for someone else still walking through the dark. Your light is not your beauty, your success, your status. Your light is your honesty, your resilience, your compassion. It's the way you kept going. It's the way you chose to love again, even after heartbreak. It's the way you found hope even in your worst season. It's the way you offer kindness even though you've seen cruelty. That's your light. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes your presence healing to those around you. But if you keep hiding your scars, if you keep pretending you've never struggled, you dim that light. You tell the world a story that isn't real. And you miss the chance to be a source of strength for someone who needs to know they're not the only one who's fallen apart. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's a gift. It's the bridge between hearts. It's what turns pain into purpose. You don't have to share every detail. You don't have to reopen old wounds, but you can stop pretending your life has been untouched by pain. You can stop holding your breath, hoping no one sees the cracks, because the cracks are where the light gets out. And often, the things we hide the most are the things that make us the most human. You may think your story is too messy, too broken, too complicated to help anyone, but someone out there is waiting for exactly what you have to say. Not the perfect version, not the polished version, but the real one. The one with raw edges and truth in every line. Your survival can be someone else's survival guide. Your comeback can be someone else's compass. So instead of hiding, speak. Instead of shrinking, cries. Instead of covering the very parts of you that prove you're still here, let them be seen. You didn't survive just to stay silent. You didn't make it through the hardest chapters of your life to pretend they never existed. You survived for a reason. And that reason is not just to exist quietly, it's to shine boldly. Your scars are not the end of your story. They are the turning point. Or the moment you decided that pain would not have the final word, that light would win, that healing would happen, not in spite of your scars, but through them. So wear them with pride. And let the world see who you really are. Not flawless, but fearless. You don't need perfect circumstances to live a meaningful life. You need a decision. So many people wait their entire lives for the stars to align before they begin to live fully. They wait for the right moment, the right mood, the right people, the right level of confidence, the perfect opportunity. They convince themselves that once things are calm, once they've healed completely, once they feel ready, then they start living the life they've always dreamed about. But that moment almost never comes. Life doesn't pause for clarity. It moves with or without your permission. And the truth is, waiting for perfect circumstances is the fastest way to waste a life that could have been full of meaning. Meaning is not found in perfection. It's found in intention. It's born the moment you decide that your life matters as it is, not just when everything feels right. You don't need everything figured out to start making a difference. You don't need a platform to make an impact. You don't need to be healed to offer healing to others. All you need is a decision, a choice to live on purpose, to show up anyway, to keep going in spite of the mess, the pain, the fear, and the uncertainty. There will always be a reason not to start. There will always be chaos, insecurity, doubt, and distraction. There will always be voices telling you it's too soon, or too late, or too hard. But none of that matters if you make a decision that your life will stand for something. You don't control the timing of the world, but you do control the energy you bring to it. And when you decide to live meaningfully, even in imperfect conditions, that decision creates a ripple effect inside you and around you. People think they need to be as someone before they can create meaning. They believe they need to achieve something great before their life counts. But the most meaningful lives aren't built on applause. They're built on presence. Being here, showing up for people, offering compassion in a cold world, doing the right thing even when no one's watching. That's what gives life meaning. And none of that requires perfection, a cut. It only requires the willingness to say, I'm going to live with heart. No matter what happens around me, circumstances are temporary. They shift like weather. What feels like a storm today may be calm tomorrow. But if you wait for the storm to pass before you start building, you'll be building forever. You'll be chasing a moving target. You'll never feel ready because comfort zones grow stronger the longer you sit in them. At some point, you have to get up and say, this might not be ideal, but I'm moving anyway. A meaningful life doesn't happen by accident. It's not reserved for people with perfect lives. It belongs to those who choose to find meaning even in pain, even in stillness, even in brokenness. Some of the most beautiful stories came from people who started in the darkest places. They didn't have it all together. They had a decision, a moment where they said, this won't be how my story ends. You can make that choice too, right now. You don't need more time, more confidence, or more validation. You just need to believe that the moment you're in right now has value, even if it's not glamorous, even if it's quiet, even if it's hard. There is meaning in the struggle. There is power in the climb. There is purpose in just not giving up. You'll never be completely ready. You'll never feel 100% certain, but you're here and that's enough to begin. Your meaning doesn't start when you reach your goals. It starts when you decide to live with purpose, even before the world claps for you. It starts when you decide to give your best, not because it's perfect, but because it's honest. It starts when you decide that your presence is already valuable, not something you need to earn. Your life can be meaningful now, not someday. Not when the weight is gone, or the scars fade, or the job title changes. Now, because meaning doesn't wait for perfection. It waits for you, your choice, your courage, your decision to show up in the middle of the mess and say, this life may not be perfect, but I'm not wasting it. Don't wait for everything to be just right. Don't wait for certainty. Don't wait for life to be easy. Make the decision. That's where it all begins.